Hey, welcome to another video on expected value lotto, where normally we look at Georgia Lottery scratch tickets and their expected values, but in this video we're going to start a series that will um, be put out on the first of every month, and this series is going to be looking at the return on Texas lottery scratch tickets. And Texas has one of the highest returns on scratch tickets of any state in the US, and in this video we're going to be looking at what is the return on $3,568 worth of Texas lottery scratch tickets. And we are going to be following a very popular YouTuber, Fixin To Scratch. And there were a couple of reasons why I chose to follow him. And the reason is because first of all, he's big enough to where he is making money on YouTube. I don't know how much he's making, probably not a whole lot, but he spends a lot of money on tickets, anywhere from $50 to $200 a day on tickets. And so in the month of June alone, he spent $3,568. And so what I have done is I've looked at all of his videos and I have kind of tracked his earnings over the month of June. And that's what I'm going to do with his channel every month, just to kind of have somebody to follow and see what the cumulative, spending and winning is. Now I really like Fixin To Scratch. I think he does an awesome job on his videos. Another reason I picked him is because he's very clear at the beginning of his videos about how much he spent, and he's very clear at the end of his videos about how much he won. And also, I think everything on his channel is for real. I don't think that he is, buying tickets and recording a session, and if it's really bad, he goes out and buys new tickets and does another session for that day's video. I don't think that he does that. I think he's pretty, like, what you see is what you get with him. And so he is, I think, going to be a good person to do this kind of following on. And so we're just going to look at, 5 days at a time and what happened with him over the month of June. So this is the first 5 days of June. What I have here are, each row is a day. And so over here on the left-hand side, I have how much he spent on that day. I have how much he won on that day. I have the result. Did he lose money? Did he make a profit? And then I have the cumulative numbers. So how much total has he spent? And you can see that number climbing every day because I'm adding what he spent each day to this total. And I'm doing the same thing with the total amount won. And then the total result. Has he lost money cumulatively or has he earned money cumulatively? And down here in yellow, this is the total result after day 5. And so, just a couple things that I'll point out here. The pink rows are when he loses money. So you can see in the first 5 days, he had 3 days of profit. Now this, June 2nd, he made $1, but is still a profit session. And you can see here on June 4th, he had a really big hit. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but he had a total profit on that session of $190. So that was a big day for him. And that actually pushed him into the profit zone for the month of June. And you can see after the first 5 days, he was up by $116, which is really good. He had spent $595 and won back $711. So he was doing good by the 5th of June. Let's look and see what happened over the next 5 days. So the 6th through the 10th, you can see he's consistently spending around $100, with the exception of June 10th where he spent $165. And he had, again, 3 days of profit. And what I want to point out here, on June 9th, he hit a $500 winner, which gave him a total profit for that session of $474. Then the very next day on June 10th, he hit a $250 winner, which gave him another big profit session with a profit of $155. And so you can see by the end of the 10th day of June, he had a total profit of $705. And so as I was watching this, I was like, wow, that he's doing really, really good in this month. Is he going to be able to finish out the month with a profit, a cumulative profit? And so I kept tracking him to see what he had done. And you can see by the 10th day, he'd already spent over $1,100, but he had earned back $1,800. So the next 5 days, let's see what happens. So here we see a lot of pink. It just kind of hits you. So the next 5 days were all, well, not all of them were lost. He had one profit day with a $5 profit, so kind of a marginal profit there. And then he had one really bad day here on June 15th where he lost $119. And so I think what I'm getting from this video is that, or from his videos, is that we really remember, I'm going to go back here, we remember these $500 and $250 wins. Those stick out in our minds. But what doesn't stick out, is when we lose $76, when we lose $50, and even when we lose $119. It just doesn't stick in our minds as much as when we win that $250. But you can see by the 10th, he had a profit of 705. In the next 5 days, he had lost about $200. So he had about a $200 loss over these 5 days. And by the 15th, he had spent almost $2,000, but he still had a total won of about $2,400. So he's halfway through the month with a profit of $502. In the next 5 days, the 16th through the 20th, again, we see a lot of pink. And we see a big loss here, a $140 loss on the 19th. He spent $160 and only earned back $20. That's a really big loss. And then we have some pretty significant losses too. $55, $65. He did have one profit day. But by the end of these next 5 days, he had gone from $500 profit cumulatively to only $235 cumulatively. So he lost, a good portion, $250 or so over these next 5 days. Now he's still doing good cumulatively for the month. Still, he has spent $2,600, earned back $2,857. So he still has a profit of $235 for the month. Now over the next 5 days, you can see it's all pink. And so these last 15 days that we've looked at, he's had 2 days of kind of small profits. The rest have been losses. The biggest loss here is an $80 loss on the 23rd of June. And so by the end of this section, these 5 days on the 25th, his profit, remember, at one point he had a profit of over $700. Now he's down to a cumulative profit of only $68. So he's lost about $650 over, since the 10th of June, so over these last 15 days. But he spent a total of about $3,100 and earned back $3,164. So he's still doing good overall for the month. And then let's look at the next 5 days. What do you think? Do you think he's going to end up with a total profit for the month? Well, let's see. Look at this. He had a profit up until the 29th of June, but yesterday on June 30th, he had a losing session, which put him at a loss for the month. And so I forgot to change these to blue. These two lines should be blue, these two profit lines. So he had 2 days of profit, and he had 3 days of losses in those last 5 days, for a cumulative total of a $15 loss overall for the month of June. Now he did really, really good. He spent $3,568. He won $3,553. So I can't emphasize enough that he did really, really super good. Considering the payout for tickets is, around 70%, something like that. He almost earned back 100% of the money that he spent. Now there were a couple of things that I noticed over the information, the information that we gathered from watching his videos. The first thing is that out of 30 sessions, 10 of his sessions were profit sessions. So it'll be interesting to see if that 1/3 holds true over the next month. But 1/3 of his sessions were profit sessions, 2/3 were losses. Now, from June 1st to June 10th, he had a profit of $705. From June 11th to June 30th, he had a loss of $720. And so this brings to mind the question of how, like when you're playing scratchers, how do you know when to call it quits? When do you step away? When do you get out? And the only answer that I can think of is when you hit the jackpot. When you win the big prize, that's when you would step away, I think, for most people. Even if you had, if you had won, if you were him and you said, okay, I've won $705 this month, I'm going to step away and not play for the rest of the month. Still, you're going back, the next month, and you're going to spend this money and, most likely lose most of it. So I think that's a big question of when do you step out and when do you step away from, scratchers. The fourth thing that I noticed was that he actually had three big winners. I'm going to point out the two that he had on the 9th and the 10th of June, that $500 win and that $250 win. Those two wins, I say, made all the difference. Maybe not all the difference, but they made a huge difference. Without these two wins, the total losses for the month would have been around $765, which would have still been probably above average. Because even without that $750, he still would have only had a loss of, $45 in the first 10 days, and that would still have been well above average for what you would expect for playing scratch tickets. But here, the fifth point is that his total loss for June, of course, is $15. This is much, much better than averages would tell you that he should have done. It's much better than expected. What I would have considered a loss of $892 to be about average for the amount of tickets that he played, just based on a return of about 70 to 75%. So, even if he had lost $890 over the month, he would have been about where you would think. You wouldn't have said, he did so bad, he lost $892. You would have said, yeah, he did okay. He only lost $892. So yeah, he had a really, really good June. So congratulations to him. But I'm looking forward to seeing how his play continues over the month of July. And we will do another video, following his numbers on the 1st of August. On the 1st of August, we'll do another one and kind of see how he did. But anyways, I think it's just fun to follow him. Again, I really like his channel. I think he does a great job at what he does. And he's a pretty smart guy. He has a strategy video, if you ever want to look at it, that kind of gives some insight into how he plays. But anyways, I enjoyed doing this video and putting together these numbers. I hope that, it was interesting to you. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.